Hello and a very good morning, everyone. Welcome back to today's market outlook. My name is Edmund. So, the main event that the whole world was paying attention to over the last 24 hours was the FOMC statement, which was released at 2 a.m. local Singapore time on Thursday. So, it was just about this morning. So the main before we get into the details of the FOMC statement, let us have a look and see what are we going to be coming up with today. For Thursday, 11th of June 2020, we will have some minor data coming out from Europe, starting with the French private payrolls numbers. This will be the monthly data. And at 4 p.m., we will be having industrial production numbers from Italy. The Eurogroup meetings will be having their video conference meeting today. However, the meeting and also the outcome of meeting should not be having any major impact on the euro dollar. Moving towards the evening session, we will be having core producer price index numbers from the US. Again, this should not be having a major impact on the US dollar. However, another report coming out at 8:30 p.m., which is the usual unemployment claims data, should be having a slight effect on the markets. Okay, so for tonight's unemployment claims numbers, markets are expecting the numbers to come in at 1.5 million Americans submitting or filing for social benefits. As we can see over the last 2 weeks or so, unemployment claims numbers has dropped from a high of 6 million back in end of March, and as of last week it was coming in at 1.87 million citizens filing for unemployment claims. Of course, remember last Friday's non-farm payrolls, non-farm employment change numbers coming in at 2.7 million jobs created in the US economy. So as we can see, the labor market in the US has I would say has done pretty well and has had a major recovery from the disasters in end of March and also the month of April. Okay, so tonight's numbers at 8:30 p.m. Market forecast is 1.5 million Americans submitting for unemployment claims. Again, theoretically, the borderline is if the figures come in better than the 1.5 million um, forecasted, then of course theoretically it should be good or bullish for the US dollar, and we should see theoretically we should see the US dollar strengthening and other major currencies such as the UK pound and also euro dollar weakening. I just looked at the MT4 charts just now. Actually, the currencies are actually starting to weaken already this morning, and of course the US dollar is also starting to strengthen as we are speaking. Okay, but we'll get to it shortly and also understand what happened, what was the impact from the FOMC statement yesterday. Okay, coming back to the market drivers and news updates. At 10:30 p.m. we will be having natural gas storage numbers, and this will be having some impact on the crude oil prices. So coming into understanding the US dollar movement yesterday, in the lead up towards the 2 a.m. announcement of the FOMC statement, the US dollar was continuing to weaken, and it just started to strengthen at about after the announcement was made. It had one final push down, and ever since then, for the last 6 hours or so, the US dollar has been consolidating or recovering. Okay, so in the FOMC statement released by the US Federal Reserve yesterday night, firstly, they maintained their funds target rate at 0% to 0.25%. And of course, they indicated that these rates will remain low throughout this year, and also throughout 2021 until the year 2022. Okay, so the immediate impact of this is that we can see that with interest rates for the US expected to be at the lower range for the next year or two, we can see first of all the gold prices shot up. Okay, gold prices shot up from a low of about 1,707.95 cents yesterday at about 2 a.m. as the statement was released, and it moved up to a high of 1,739. Okay, So it went up about 31 dollars, 31 US dollars within a short time frame of 2 hours. Okay. And of course, other notes, other notable comments from Federal Reserve Chairman mentioned that they were looking into yield curve control at the meeting. However, they are still pondering or considering whether its effectiveness was good enough for them to implement it. Okay. Other statements or other comments by the Federal Reserve yesterday, they have a projection for the US economy to shrink by negative 6.5% for this year, and starting from the year 2021, they are expecting the economy to recover by 5%, followed by a reasonable 3.5% in 2022. Okay, so I think these projections personally for me are a bit optimistic. Number one, I believe that it will take more time or even a whole lot of effort for the economy to recover by 5% in 2021. 3.5% in 2022 is reasonable, but we will have to see how it works out on a month-to-month basis as we move along. Okay, so those are the updates for the markets in terms of the FOMC statement yesterday, and also what to expect for today's economic calendar. Again, pay attention to the markets at 2 to 4 p.m. local Singapore Malaysia time, and also towards the evening 7 to 9 p.m. local Singapore and Malaysia time. Okay, so let us move on to the technical analysis.